welcome to Gaston Spotlight. I'm your host, Justin Hensley. Our guest today is award-winning singer-songwriter Jennifer Alvarado. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Let's start way back at the beginning and talk about when did you start playing music?
So I actually started singing like little melodies and stuff before I could even actually talk. Yeah, I've always done music. But I was probably about 4 when I started making up little songs and singing for just church and that kind of stuff, and then got involved with church choir and school choir, and it kind of just grew from there. My grandfather, when I was growing up, he played banjo and guitar, mandolin, all of that, and so when I would go to his house, he would teach me different chords, and he actually played on a Sunday morning radio show. So I've always been around music. So
Yeah.
something I've always done.
Oh, that's cool. Well, how would you describe your music for people?
I like to say I'm probably like the singer-songwriters, like country singer-songwriters, like Dina Carter from the 90s country women, that kind of thing, mixed with Alanis Morissette as far as like just, I write a lot of like in-your-face kind of songs sometimes.
Yeah. I listened to a few other songs that you have online, and I saw a wide variety of different styles of music there, so I really like that you bring in a lot of different stuff there.
Thank you.
As a singer-songwriter, what are some of your, I guess you kind of mentioned this right here, but like some of your inspirations as far as writing your lyrics?
One of my favorite writers is Patty Griffin. There's just an honesty to her lyrics and a rawness, and she's able to state things that are very simplistic in nature, but it hits you a certain way that it sticks with you, and so I love that. So she's probably like one of my biggest inspirations as far as songwriting. But also just all of, all country, like classic country, those kind of things. But as far as singing, I grew up listening to Celine Dion, Journey, like big voices.
Yeah.
So that's part of, I think, my musical style is just I like the big, full voices. And then performance-wise, I loved Reba McEntire growing up. Huge Reba fan. Somebody who is just very diverse in what they're able to do. And so I like that. I like that there's a business side to it. And so I think especially when you're an indie artist trying to get somewhere, you've got to know that business side too.
Yeah. Yeah, it helps to have such established, well-known names that you can kind of like model a trajectory after.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, as a singer-songwriter, you have won a few awards, including the 2021 Country Artist of the Year Award from Indie Star Radio.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about receiving that award.
Yeah, so I actually, before I'd even sent my music out, I did contemporary Christian music for a while, and my first CD came out in 2015. It was contemporary Christian. And then I sort of pursued the worship director, worship pastor life. And in 2020, of course, everything kind of changed, and you're stuck at home. And I had all these songs that I'd written that had just kind of sat there. And I thought, what better time to try this than now, when people are stuck in their house and forced to listen to you. Kidding. So I started releasing the country stuff, and actually in the beginning of 2021, I had sort of just thought, I think I'm going to just quit music altogether. And just do it as a hobby and be done with it. And one of my last ditch efforts, I guess, was to send it out to some radio stations and just see if they liked the song. The song at the time was called I Break Things. And it went over very well, and they received it very well. And from that, my other songs started getting some traction too. And so by the end of that year, 2021, I was named Country Artist of the Year. And that was, solely based. It matters because it was solely based on, like, the fans voting. And so that, I think, means even more because, I was at that place in the beginning of the year where it was like, do I even have a fan base? Do I have anybody that even cares? And then you realize, like, you do have people and you do have a support system, and it's always helpful.
Yeah, I imagine that was definitely great motivator for you.
It was, yeah, and it definitely, it helped me realize, like, hey, this isn't maybe just a pipe dream. Like, I need to keep pushing. So
yeah, it's always great to be recognized. Yeah. So now that you've had a little bit of experience of staying at home and writing, like we all had to stay home, do you prefer the writing and recording side of things versus performing live?
Usually I would say yes. I mean, I love songwriting. That's my first passion. If I never got to sing again and could just do songwriting, I'd be fine. So yes, I love that part. I'm an introvert, so I love that part. It's exhausting to, constantly play shows, but there's a, I guess, natural high that you get, an adrenaline rush that I just really love. And I think beyond that, I love seeing people's reaction to stuff. I love meeting people. Because that's where I get inspiration for more music, is learning people's stories, seeing what is really important to somebody, and hopefully seeing like how some of my songs can translate to somebody else and if it is impactful or not. Because that's honestly my goal with music, is to be that voice that maybe somebody feels alone or feels like nobody understands them. And if one person can hear a song and be like, I get it, and okay, great, I'm not the only person dealing with this, then I've done my job.
Yeah. You mentioned the staying at home during 2020 and also being like an introvert.
Yeah.
What are some other struggles that kind of go into playing music professionally?
For me, I struggled with anxiety for a lot of years. I had performance anxiety starting at about the age of 11, to the point that it crippled me for a number of years, to where I would go up to sing and nothing would come out. I couldn't do it. And so I had to work through that. I actually, sought counseling and that kind of thing. So, if you're struggling with something like that, please know that it's okay. Yeah. Like, it's okay to ask for help. But yeah, so I got help through that, but I also had to change the way I looked at things. I'm a perfectionist by nature. I'm very type A, and I want everything perfect. And what I realized was, first off, that's not even real. But number two, like, it just keeps you frozen so many times. And so I had lost so much joy in music, trying to be this perfect, non-existent, Yeah. So, I think that's the thing. I think you get back to a place of just, you have to remember constantly why you're doing it, and it helps you overcome the anxiety of it.
Well, it seems like you've taken some of that positivity and some of that energy and you've directed it towards some ministry. Yeah. And you've worked with a few different groups. You helped start the Thrive Recovery group. Yeah. Could you explain a little bit about what they do there? Yeah,
so I actually started with a ministry called Celebrate Recovery back in 2013 at my church. And then I started at a job called Safe Harbor. It's a shelter for women, and I was in their day program. So I helped run the community center, which means I would go pick the ladies up from the Salvation Army in the morning, bring them to the community center. We would feed them lunch, do classes, all that kind of stuff, try to help them with housing and all of those things. But what we were noticing was so many have substance abuse problems. They have anxiety issues, all those kind of things. And so we started the Thrive Recovery group to kind of go through those 12 steps with them, and help really try to bring out the underlying issues and help them seek a Christ-centered recovery. So.
Well, with all that, you sound like you're incredibly busy.
I'm a little busy.
What do you do in your downtime to sort of relax?
Honestly, my downtime now is more writing music. That's really, I have to have time to write music or I start getting a little, restless. But I also, I love spending time with my husband. We watch a lot of different documentaries and stuff like that just to kind of, I guess, unwind. Yeah. And I love animals, so I spend time with out in nature and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, fun stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are looking forward to hearing you perform today. Yeah. So what songs will you be playing for us today?
So I'll be playing my latest single. It actually came out on Friday. It's called Catfish. It's basically about the whole idea of with a catfish, it makes certain noises. I was into fishing, so I'm still into fishing. But it makes certain noises, and you don't think that it's an actual fish, and that's a tactic. And so I kind of changed it to where it's also talking about that person that lies to you and pretends to be something they're not, just so they can ruin you and break your heart. So that's what Catfish is about. And then I'm also doing a song called Curious. It was a song that I wrote back in December, probably one of the quickest songs I've ever written. But it's about that dynamic of knowing somebody likes you, you like them, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's somebody that you work with, whatever the case is. But you have that ongoing just curiosity of what would a relationship be with them, and how would that work out, but you're both too afraid to kind of plunge into it. So.
Those sound great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I can't wait to hear these songs. And I'm Justin Hensley, and this is Jennifer Alvarado. Thank you for tuning in.
Painting pretty pictures and walking in your dirty boots. Well, anyway, it's twisted, I'll still be the one to lose. Well, don't you get tired of lying? Do you even remember your name? Well, karma has a way of finding you when you're getting her away. You're nothing but a catfish, making me think you're something that you're clearly not. Using all the your tricks, hoping I'll take the bait in your little pond. But you're nothing but a troll, pulling your lines, breaking unsuspecting hearts. So if you think we're going fishing in the dark, you've been catfish. Yeah, you've been catfish. You probably gotta keep a list of all the things you say. Well, soon those alibis are gonna come back to play. And don't you get tired of lying? Aren't you scared of being alone? The truth always comes out of hiding, even when you think it won't. You're nothing but a catfish, making me think you're something that you're clearly not. Using all the your tricks, hoping I'll take the bait in your little pond. But you're nothing but a troll, pulling your lines, breaking unsuspecting hearts. So if you think we're going fishing in the dark, you've been catfish. Yeah, you've been catfish. And you're twisting all these lines, thinking that you've won this game. But you're about to see it's you that's been played. You're nothing but a catfish, making me think it's something that you're clearly not. Using all of your tricks, hoping I'll take the bait in your little pond. But you're nothing but a troll, pulling your lines, breaking unsuspecting hearts. So if you think we're going fishing in the dark, you better go and tell your no good cheating heart. It's been catfish. Yeah, you've been catfished. I can see you looking at me from across the room. Every single glance I get even more confused. You shouldn't want me, I shouldn't want you. All of our reasons, we follow the rules. All I keep dreaming about is me with you. Are you curious both agree that we should just be friends. But when our late night conversations get deep, I can't pretend. 'Cause I know you want me, you know I want you. Forget the boundaries, let's break our own rules. All I keep dreaming about is me with you. Are you curious where this is going? Curious, think you should know that when it comes to me and you, I don't know what to do, but I'm curious about you. About you. In one touch, I won't know what to do. In one kiss, it quickly needs to do. And if our guards all came down and we don't try to stop this now, do you ever wonder what could happen to